As I'll relate later during the sermon, I didn't do a good job of foreseeing Father's Day was coming, but it is here. And so let's talk about fathers this morning. I heard someone say recently, never mind that my children don't always listen to me. I'm terrified that they're always watching me. And I thought, well, when I heard that, there's something in that. Ephesians chapter 5 starts by saying, therefore be imitators of God as dear children. Isn't that interesting? The simile is that we should be as children. And what is it that children do according to the verse? Well, they imitate. And you might be saying, well, that's a very interesting point, but I thought we were talking about fatherhood here and not childhood. And so it is. Because fatherhood is, biblically, the other side of that. It's self-conscious about its pattern setting. That is why we read things like this, 1 Corinthians 4:15 through 16. For though you might have 10,000 instructors in Christ, yet you don't have many fathers. For in Christ Jesus, I have begotten you through the gospel. Therefore, I urge you, imitate me. Notice, father, imitate. Father, imitate. Biblically, childhood imitates, and fatherhood should be imitatable. Fathers should be self-conscious that they are, habit makers, pattern setters, standard creators. There's that anecdote, for instance, that Robert E. Lee was one time walking around in the snow by his house, and he looked back to see his young son following after him by carefully putting every little one of his feet in his father's giant impressions made in the snow. And Lee writes about that. When I saw this, I said to myself, it behooves me to walk very straight when this little fellow is already following in my tracks. Or there is that University of Queensland study by Mark Nielsen in 2018 that demonstrates in a rather non-evolutionary friendly manner the profound difference between human children and all other primates. And that human children will imitate their parents even in irrelevant actions, while chimpanzee, ape, and gorilla younglings will not do the same with theirs. Nelson tried to use this study to explain where human culture comes from, why humans make cultures, but we can see a biblical fact in it. Fathering is human, and it's different than simply male breeding. For fathers are imitated. Fathers are imitated. That is also why fatherhood is moral. And this is why it is our exhortation today on Father's Day. Fathers, the exhortation to you, therefore, this Lord's Day is to live conscientiously. Live conscientiously. Making rules in your family that you do not follow will not be followed. Or making speeches to your family of things that you want but are not doing will be things you want but will not be done. For the only way that you can teach the standard is to keep the standard. Fathers, you are the education. You are training. You cannot not teach. But what teaches will not be your words if your words are not your actions and your loves. You fathers are being watched. You're being watched. And that's sober truth. It reminds us why we might need to confess this morning. So hear this before Psalm 25. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truths and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. Well, if you are with us this morning, you're invited, if able, to kneel with us. So let us worship and bow down and kneel before the Lord, our God, our Maker.